Hey there, everyone. Welcome to Saturday afternoon's Sound Off. Today's topic on the Week in Reviews Sound Off is the Ohio teen who drove her car 100 miles directly into a brick wall. Was this an accident? Was this reckless? Was this deliberate? We're going to talk about it. Let's get in it. First, let's bring up our co-host of the Esteban Hours Week in Reviews is co-host and author and activist, Mr. Jeremy Baker. Hey, Jeremy.
Hey, what's going on, man?
How you doing?
Good. Enjoying my weekend. How are you?
Not enjoying my weekend. Still working.
I know, right?
But it's nice outside, so that's what matters, right?
That is nice.
Yeah. Okay, let's bring in our guest panel for today. Mr. Preston from. Bring him in. Hey, Preston.
Hey,
NYC. How you doing?
NYC. Yes.
How you doing, Preston?
I'm balanced.
I like that.
Excellent. All righty. Let's get started. This is
that would make me unbalanced then if he's
balanced. All right. So we have an Ohio teen, 19 years old, Mackenzie Shirella. She was recently convicted on trial. She was sentenced to 15 years to life for killing her boyfriend and her boyfriend's friend. They were driving one night, and she put her foot on the gas and drove directly into a brick wall. Let's play this video.
Is being called hell on wheels. The petite teenager shows complete shock as the judge reads the verdict.
This was not reckless driving. This was murder.
It's one of the most unusual murder cases in memory. The teen accused of slamming her car at 100 miles per hour into a brick wall, killing her 20-year-old boyfriend Dominic Russo and his friend, 19-year-old Davian Flanagan, who was sitting in the back seat. In this surveillance video, you can hear Mackenzie's car whizzing by like a speeding rocket. Then you hear the crash right into the brick wall. Evidence at the trial indicated Mackenzie wore her fuzzy Prada slippers and that the accelerator pedal was being pushed down at 100% capacity.
Fuzzy Prada slippers. Incredible. Well, this young lady sobbed uncontrollably in court while she was being addressed by the judge to the court and handed down this sentence of 15 years to life. The judge said this was not a reckless driving incident. This was murder. So let's hand it over to you, Jeremy, first. What say you?
I think this, from what I read, this has apparently she's made threats like this before, always constantly threatening to drive the car and do something.
Yes.
Yeah, and apparently they've had some pretty unhealthy arguments, and I don't think it was a completely stable relationship to begin with. If somebody honestly was driving a car and they threatened to run into a wall more than once, I'm not riding in the car with you anymore. Your ass is not driving me ever anywhere. You know what I'm saying? Like,
you think she was a little bit unstable there?
Yeah, and they said the computer of the car. I mean, there's computers on the car that read everything. The gas pedal was pressed all the way down, so obviously she intended on.
Forget about readers. You can feel yourself going 100 miles per hour, and then you can see that brick wall in front of you. I would have been hysterical.
I'm surprised she lived, to be honest with you.
Yeah.
I mean, 100 miles an hour.
That's the $1 million question of the day. How is it that she survived and both her passenger and her backseat passenger did not?
Mm-hmm.
What do you think, Preston?
Yeah, when I saw it, I mean, from what I read, like Jeremy said, it seemed like they had like a toxic relationship. it seemed like she probably was the head in the relationship. And as far as what I did read in the article is that it was 2 homicides at the same time, and the judge sentenced her to 15 to life concurrent and not consecutive. You know, like 15 for each murder.
Yes.
Which usually, if there's a crime that was committed with one act, it's kind of actually hard to sentence somebody consecutive for the same incident. That might have been why the judge did that. But the judge said, I don't see her getting out in 15 years. Which, yeah, probably not. I mean, you know, it's Ohio. Ohio is kind of, it's a red state and pretty strict. So yeah, she probably would do at least 20 or 25.
Well, I would think that she deserves to do more than 15. She took 2 innocent young lives. I mean, these boys had their entire lives ahead of them, and they're gone for whatever personal reasons that she had. And she obviously did not think of the consequences that she would serve, or even more importantly, them, because they're gone.
Yeah. And what I did notice, it appears from what I read that she wasn't found guilty of aggravated murder. That's the highest charge in Ohio, aggravated murder. That means that was premeditated. So they didn't find her guilty of premeditated murder. They found her guilty of murder, which is 1 under. So,
well, here are the charges. She was found guilty of 12 charges, and this includes aggravated vehicular homicide, felonious assault and drug possession, and the conviction. Okay, that's all I have on my list. Obviously, there's like 10 more that she did, but regardless, these are serious charges, and she did something very, very serious. Do you think that this sentence is warranted for her?
I mean, yeah, obviously, I mean, there's no sentence you can actually give a person that killed 2 people. You know.
Yeah, especially on purpose.
Yeah. I mean, to me, based on, like I said, she made these threats about driving, and like, you know, it was, you know. Then the other question was, is she suicidal? Because that's a suicide movement, technically.
Yes.
Yeah, that's what I was thinking too. I was thinking.
And when a person is thinking about themselves, they're not thinking about the other individuals that could be facing the same predicament, right?
Yeah, she's suicidal. I'm not driving my car 100 miles. Even if I have a problem with somebody, I'm getting out the car. I'm not going in the wall with you. That's a suicide.
Right?
Yeah, I'm looking at the picture. Girl got problems. And I'm pretty sure everybody around her knew she had problems. No one probably said. Well, people probably said something, but you know, they let it go. She gives me a look like she's spoiled. Well,
let me play.
My opinion.
Yeah.
She looked like spoiled.
Chanel earrings.
Yeah,
and fuzzy Prada slippers.
Yeah, exactly. I have the video pulled up again. I could play it one more time while we're on the side. And I don't. This is just like a normal. This is like I mean, this looks like it's a regular, like a neighborhood or something. It doesn't. It's not the highway. So let me just play the end of this real quick again.
Video, you can hear Mackenzie's car whizzing by like a speeding rocket. Then you hear the crash right into the brick wall.
Yeah, that's the highway. That's not a highway. That's like a damn side street in a neighborhood or something like that.
It wasn't a highway. But I will say this: I hope that anyone that sees this, people die in vain when no one learns, right? And we keep repeating the same things. So hopefully people be mindful. If you have family members younger, like their age, in relationships, and you see it look like it may be toxic, and these signs where the women or the man keep making threats, man, take the threat serious. Take them serious, and people gonna have to intervene, because if not, you're gonna keep having incidents like this here. You know.
You think it's different you think it's different with a female behind the wheel versus a male behind the wheel?
What do you mean, criminally?
Yeah. In other words, if it was a male behind the wheel, you think he would have done this exact same thing in this manner?
Yeah, men would do that because there's today, men will do that. Men get very emotional nowadays. So
Hey, I've been in toxic relationships before. I was in one so bad I can't believe I'm admitting this. I was like 20 years old. She was 18. Horrible relationship. Never should have happened. I had to get a restraining order against this person because she went to jail. She got a lot. She somehow, I don't know why the cop was already there, but she threatened to kill me in front of a cop. And the cop was like, "You can't do that." So
I never attracted those kind of women. I was able to see that.
Crazy women love me. Crazy. I love crazy women, so that's probably the worst part about that whole scenario.
So here's a little bit more to the story. The three of them had allegedly been smoking marijuana at a friend's house before she got behind the wheel and they got in the car. Sherilla allegedly had THC in her system that exceeded the legal limit in Ohio, in Cleveland, Ohio. So do you think that being under the influence of marijuana might have had something to do with this?
Not marijuana.
No, not weed. If anything, weed would make you not want to kill somebody.
Yeah. Now, maybe if it was dust, because dust make you or hallucinate, but weed, no. Weed, no. Weed is like a downer. It's supposed to make you chill, not hype or drive.
Right? Yeah, right.
Nowadays, what can you expect? Because there are different kinds of marijuana now, right? You've got marijuana with cocaine and caffeine in it.
Yeah, right. So some marijuana is laced with cocaine, fentanyl, heroin. So even if it was laced with heroin, that's kind of a downer. With the downer, fentanyl, same thing. Even if it's laced with coffee. Well, coffee is upper, but it doesn't make you drive a car to. Well, the only I don't do drugs, but I grew up around it. Also, the only drug I can even stretch would be a hallucinant drug like dust, or some type of one of them hallucinants that they take that make you think you're seeing stars and stuff.
Hallucinogenic drugs,
mushrooms,
right, mushrooms, right.
Yeah. Oh, not that I know anything about that.
Whatever. What else?
Which is like
I keep incriminating myself. Right. Damn it.
So you were right, Jeremy. That was a side street that they were driving down. According to surveillance videos, prosecutors had showed in the courtroom, this young lady was driving on Progressive Drive in the Progress Drive Business Park in Ohio. When she turned onto Alameda Drive, she became, and I quote, literal hell on wheels. And that's what the judge said. She was seen accelerating before jerking the wheel to the right and left before slamming into a brick building at 100 miles per hour, leaving her and her passengers trapped in the twisted metal wreckage. So this definitely seemed like this was deliberate. I think it's arguably said whether she meant to do it. She might have been at that moment under some type of influence where she wasn't stable or in her right mind. But it doesn't matter, does it? 2 lives are gone forever.
Exactly.
Right.
Well, she would have to put that. I mean, again, I don't know what her lawyer is. I mean, if she has some mental disorders, because like if somebody has mental disorders, depression, or they took a hallucinant, those would be what they call like mitigating factors.
Right.
And that would have to, but then that all depends too on your lawyer. If you have a good lawyer, like I said, I don't know her whole complete case and her defense, but that's pretty much like how that goes. But at the end of the day, it seemed like I said they convicted her of just murder, not aggravated murder, which means the jury must have found that it was not premeditated.
Right. Absolutely. Here's the picture of her passenger. This young man here, 19-year-old Flanagan, Davian Flanagan. Very, very sad. Very, very sad that his life is over someone's mental health. It's just really, really sad, and it just tells. I hope other teens who are aware of this story, if they are, know better. Don't take your mental capacity and put it behind a wheel, especially if you've got other lives that you are responsible for in that car. If you want to kill yourself, I mean, suicide is wrong regardless. But if that's
don't bring other people into it.
Don't bring other people, other innocent people into that, right?
I find it funny when they always do these toxicity reports, they never discuss the prescription medications that the person was on, because those are also mitigating factors. Antidepressants, antipsychotics. Was she on anything like that? Was she on anything new? Because a lot of those drugs, one of the main side effects may cause worsening of symptoms. So if you have somebody that's already psychotic and they have an adverse reaction to the medication, you could have situations like this where they just snap and run into a brick wall and kill two people. So it's sad, but
now we'll tell you maybe later on, because this is in Ohio. There's only, well, I know what jail she's going to. She's going to Dayton Correctional Facility. She'll be in Marysville, but she'll be going to Dayton Correctional Facility. And, I do speak to people there. And maybe at a later time, maybe we can get a phone call from her and see, hear her thoughts.
Right. See what you can do. See, I mean, things are still new and fresh for them, but work on that and see if you can get an interview.
I'm gonna let her settle into her bed, because when it's gonna be, she's incarcerated now. I'm presuming, right? Yeah. And so, after she goes through Maryville, no wait, DCI got their own thing. I don't know how long, but I will inquire if the girl came in. And this is gonna be rough with her. It's gonna be rough for her because she's gonna be in that cell.
Updated.
You got 15 years. 15. It is real. This is not a game. It is not a nightmare.
That's right. Because you've spoken about Ohio women's prisons before. In fact, you are an advocate for women incarcerated all around the country, but definitely in Ohio, aren't you?
Yes, I am. I've interviewed a lot of the women, and I still have some contacts. Women that I do speak to. Well, I really only speak to maybe a couple now in Ohio and Marysville, and then DI, which is Dayton Correctional Facility. But man, this
is that state?
Yeah, it's state. Mm-hmm.
Is there? Oof, that's rough.
Yeah.
So now,
well, she wouldn't go to federal for that. I live close to Allenwood. And most people have heard of Allenwood. Federal Correctional is like 20 minutes from me.
What about
that place is huge?
What about the parents? Does anyone ever think about what the parents have to go through? The parents of all three of these young teens, the boyfriend who's gone, the friend, the passenger who's gone. What about their parents? And also, what about her parents? We have a video clip of that, don't we?
Yeah, this is the girl's mom, the girl who was the driver, and she's kind of pleading to the court, gets a little emotional, but yeah, that'd be rough. She didn't ruin just those kids' lives. She ruined a lot more lives than that. Everybody, I love those people too.
So that morning of the accident, she called. I got a phone call that there was a car accident. Okay, so we went to the hospital, and I didn't even know who was in the car. The names had not been confirmed yet. And I was like, I'm going to cry because I missed Dom so much. We loved him so much. So I called Dom, over and over again, praying that he was going to answer the phone. And he didn't answer the phone. So then I tried to call his mom, and she didn't answer the phone either. And I still didn't know who was in the car. I didn't even know if she was alive. I didn't know what was happening. So then we were in the waiting room. And then his mom she did call me, so I answered the phone, and I was like, oh my God, I don't even know who was in the car, what's happening, was that Dom? And she said, what do you mean, my son is dead?
Could you imagine hearing that?
Yeah.
So everybody's lives will be permanently changed by the actions of this young lady.
And number one, you know, for her to say, she's speaking to the other mom, what do you mean my son is dead? I mean, powerful. And you can see the daughter in the background sobbing away and crying. You know, or should we have sympathy for her and for those tears?
It's raw. It's hard for me to have sympathy for her.
I mean, yeah, I'm neutral on any way. The whole situation is sad. You know, like I said, you know, this ain't the first time this has happened. These be warning signs, and I don't know what the parents or the other people do. Like I said, in my opinion, the girl looked like she probably was spoiled. And you know, sometimes spoiled children, they run over their parents. They do whatever they want, and this is the result of when you don't check your kids, when you don't put them in a proper place.
Great point to bring up. Absolutely.
Yeah.
This is the result. They start to think that they could just, the whole world is theirs and they could do whatever they want. That's why it's important to discipline them. You can't always be a friend to your child. You're supposed to be their guide. The guide to make sure that they go through life not harming themselves and harming others. So it's like, I mean, I don't know. I mean, someone can probably argue that the girl was a victim because her parents probably didn't check her.
Right.
You know what I mean? I can assure you she done cussed her mom and them fathers out, took the keys. And she drove up with the car. They should have took the keys. I know this ain't the first time. From reading the accounts in the newspaper, if those are correct.
Well, you know, I hope that this can be some kind of a lesson, even though this has happened before. But again, every time these situations take place, I just hope that there are more and more young people that are paying attention and realizing you can put your own life in jeopardy and definitely the innocent lives of your passengers in jeopardy, and think twice before getting behind the wheel under the influence, whether it's drugs, marijuana, or alcohol, or just if you're angry. Don't get behind the wheel. Take a minute to breathe and let it go, or at least take your passengers home and then do whatever you want. Last words, gentlemen. Last words.
My last words is maybe they need to take these type videos and show this in the schools.
Yeah.
Yeah.
That's a great point as well. Yeah. Because this is not a laughing matter, is it? Again, 3 lives done for. No, like Jeremy said, more than 3 lives, because you have to take into account the family members as well. That will pretty much not see these 3 individuals, you know, again.
Exactly. So,
all right.
Yeah, I'm good. I hate talking about stuff like this. It's just,
yeah, but you know, it's reality, and it is, and we need to bring it to the front. You know, just in case there's even one young person watching who might have the same mindset as this young lady and realize it's not worth it.
I agree.
Okay. Thank you, gentlemen. Okay. That will be all for this sound off. A very, very sad moment and story to talk about, but we cannot we can't be prejudiced against what stories are good, bad, happy, or sad. If they need to be told, they need to be told. This is a very sad situation. Our heart goes out to the family members of the boyfriend, and also to the passenger and friend of the boyfriend. And our prayers go to the family members of this young woman as well. Stay tuned for any future updates on this topic.